Anderson III. Also here tonight in the state capital of California, yours truly, Sam Farmer alongside the coach, PJ Carlissimo. It's a pleasure and a privilege to have you with us here tonight. Well, Coach, both of those guys are young stars for the Kings. Both are guards. Tonight, though, the focus is going to be on some big players for Kansas. That means Udoka Azubuike, one of the most prolific scorers underneath the rim.
Well, he's a legitimate big, and he's playing his best basketball. Back-to-back double-doubles. 5 days ago in Lincoln, Nebraska, he was super. 26 and 10, 1-point win against the Cornhuskers, and then he backed it up against Omaha 2 days after that. Conversely, for Stanford, Reed Travis, leading scorer and returning rebounder in the Pac-12. He's going to be a nightmare matchup also for Kansas, so it's going to be interesting to see how the coaches handle those big-on-big matchups.
A lot of storylines for this one. For Stanford, a lot of them surround their head coach, Jared Haas, who wrote the book on how to be a hustle player for the Kansas Jayhawks, playing his alma mater tonight.
The king of floor burns. Unbelievable. They keep those stats at both of these schools because of one man, Jared Haas.
These Cardinals 6-6 on the season, coming off of their finals break, which they tend to play a little bit better after, obviously, the level of education at Stanford second to none.
Absolutely, and again, both of these things, this is a difficult time to play. It's interesting, obviously, a non-campus game here in this beautiful arena, the Golden One Center, so it's going to be nice for the teams. Playing at home when the dorms are empty is not a fun thing to do.
Azubuike and Humphrey to tip it off, and it's won by the Jayhawks. Wearing blue tonight, you see the starting five: Graham Newman, Vic, Mikhailuk, and the big man Azubuike. Stanford countering with Cartwright, Davis, Travis De Silva, and their big Humphrey. Right away down low, Azubuike for the jam.
That's his 43rd dunk of the year, Sam. That's why he's number 2 in the NCAA in field goal percentage.
Trails only Taco Fall of UCF, who at 7'6" can dunk without jumping. So 2-0 early. Stanford to drive from De Silva. Azubuike there to contest, forces the miss, and the rebound goes to Devontae Graham. Newman, 3 in transition, too strong. Rebound Stanford. Dejon Davis all the way to the rim, can't finish at the lane. Offensive board to Robert Cartwright. Now Travis for 3.
Something he didn't do last year. Attempted 1-3 last year. That's his 25th attempt already this year.
Coach Haas said they like it if they can get 1 per game out of him. That's make, not attempts.
I think Reed likes a couple more than that.
Down low, Azubuike too strong with the left hand, and a rebound by De Silva. 2-0 early in favor of the number 14 Jayhawks. 9-2. Their only 2 losses to Pac-12 schools.
Well, we'll see whether there's any magic to the Pac-12 conference as Rob Pritchard gets the Cardinal on the board.
Cartwright, the redshirt junior, averaging 8.5 a game. First lead for Stanford at 3-2, and right back down to Azubuike. Working on Humphrey, and rolls it over the front of the iron for a 4-3 lead.
It's just very few teams have bodies to deal with him inside. Stanford even more so with a number of their bigs out, although they got real good news before this game. Freshman eligible for the first time, another big, hopefully to defend Azubuike.
It's KZ Alcala. We expect to see him later on in the contest. Baseline pass, hits the end line, and a turnover to Kansas.
Turnover's been a major problem for Stanford. One of the poorest records, turnover and turnover margin in the NCAA. Dejon Davis, their freshman, being forced to play point guard. So my hometown of Seattle, he's an excellent player, but really not a point guard. He's learning on the job, and that's tough to do.
Jayhawks, on the other hand, tend to do a lot of assists like that. Azubuike with the finish.
From LeGerald Vick. LeGerald Vick is often the recipient of those alley-oop lobs. That time he got the assist.
They were first in the nation in assists yesterday, falling back to second, but clearly share the basketball very well. Humphrey, 3 from the corner is good. Stanford big, knocks down the triple.
Very, very good three-point shooter. They missed Dorian Pickens as their best three-point shooter, a starter from last year, not quite ready yet. Hopefully they'll have him back when they start Pac-12 play, the Cardinals.
Turnover, Cartwright. Reverse lane is good. Gets it by Graham on the contest. That's 5 early for Cartwright. Once again, Azubuike backing in. And running hook.
That's good defense. Michael Humphrey can't do much better than that. If he can force Azubuike to catch it outside the paint and make a shot like that, obviously a lot tougher shot than the dunk that we saw him start the game with.
Silva can't finish the reverse lane. I think they were right to focus on Azubuike in the start, coach. He's got all 8 for Kansas.
Well, you could tell at the shoot-around this afternoon. Bill Self, here we go.
Lets Travis fly by, and he's got all 10 now for Kansas. Azubuike, pretty close to this day a year ago, suffered a wrist injury, was lost for the rest of the season. Gets the swat there, comes off the big man. There was 16 minutes left in the first half. We got our timeout on the floor. Azubuike has all 10. Jayhawks lead by 2 early in Sacramento.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Zales. 'Tis the season to save and sparkle more than ever. And Land Rover, above and beyond.
Azubuike, all 10 early for Kansas.
And if you'll notice, they're not very far from the rim. It's one of the reasons he's #2 in the country. They're doing an excellent job getting him the ball. Sometimes over the top, sometimes on a direct post feed, and then he wheels into the lane. Good footwork also. Does a good job maintaining a pivot foot. Fakes with that up and under. We see the official, Mike Greenstein, talking to him right now. I'm sure that's a result of a conversation Mike had with Jared Hass during the timeout.
Stanford will inbound it to Reed Travis. Into the corner, Cartwright for 3. Left it short, gets his own rebound. Stanford has not had an answer as they get this. Kansas comes away with the steal here with Graham. Stanford hasn't had an answer for Azubuike so far, but they just checked in a potential in the freshman KZ Akpala. He's on defense right now.
There's a good double team that time. A little adjustment out of the timeout. On the catch, they were already there with the double team. Akpala in the scorebook quickly.
Gets his first rebound of his college career. Humphrey, another 3. The big man shooting better than 50% from deep on the season.
11 for 20 coming in. He's going to be taking more and more, I think, especially without Dorian Pickens available for Jared Hass.
Stanford a 1-point lead, just about 15 minutes left in the first half. Sam Farber, the coach, P.J. Carlissimo here with you in Sacramento. Nice pass by Kailu, leaving it for LeGerald Vick, and someone other than Azubuike's finally entered the scorer's ledger.
Well, you talked about this team, Kansas #2 in the NCAA in assists. They really play with 4 guards around Azubuike, so they pass and catch the ball extremely well.
In the corner, Humphrey. This is his first 3.
But a good look again.
Al Lob looking underneath for Mikhailo, comes off the iron, and on, well, I guess we have to call a rebound. We got a foul against Stanford.
Almost went in. The pass almost went in. There's KZ Akpala, again, number 44 in the ESPN 100. But he's a talented young man. 30 points and 11 boards for Esperanza High School. Led them to their first state championship. But again, I don't know if going head-to-head with Azubuike is how you want to start your college career.
Subs in for Stanford as well. Isaac White has checked in, and in for Kansas, Mitch Lightfoot, replacing Azubuike.
Zone on the underneath out.
Lightfoot, nice pass. Vick underneath, missed the bunny. Rebound by Michael Humphrey.
Good ball movement, as is usually the case with the Jayhawks.
Six minutes in, it's a 1-point Kansas lead. Travis, this is the 6-foot runner, and we got a foul called. Humphrey getting a technical for holding onto the rim as he tried to collect the rebound.
Tony Badia with the call. Reed Travis kind of quiet early. That's a shot that he normally eats up. Yeah, Humphrey just went for the board with his left hand, but grabbed the rim with his right.
To the line, Devontae Graham. And Graham, if he knocks down both free throws, sorry, he only gets the one free throw for the technical, but that puts him 1 point shy now of Jared Hass on the all-time Kansas scorers leaderboard.
Jared's not going to be overly concerned. I think he figured Devontae was good for 3 tonight. He wasn't worried about whether that one was going to happen. Now, Devontae Graham really improved. He was always a good free throw shooter. This year, he's taken it up almost to 90%. Never shot over 80 prior to this season.
On the Wooden Award watch list, Graham for 3. Yes.
3, and he is now number 33 on the Kansas all-time scoring chart. Just went by Jared Hass.
Coach Hass found out that his mark was in danger today at shoot-around when we told him. I think, as you said, didn't think that mark was going to stand. There's a nice move by Reed Travis.
Strong move inside. Up and under, took the hit, and finished inside.
He's on the board, closes the gap to 3. Now got a foul on the other end. Goes on Casey Okpala, his first.
Second team foul.
Graham, the lob for Banks.
They love that look. Devontae Graham delivers the pass. They slide behind the zone. 2-3 zone. They slide along the baseline. Find Legero Vic above the rim.
Davis pushes his way inside. Too strong on the attempt. Rebound, Marcus Garrett. Graham, pull up 3 in transition. Yes, sir. And a timeout to Stanford. Graham 2 for 2 from beyond the arc. Jayhawks up by 8.
You ready? When you catch and you're ready to shoot, I look where the rim and the net meet, and that's what I lock in on. When you add 2 basketballs or a tennis ball in that workout, it makes the game seem a lot slower. Everything I've learned, I'm passing on to you. I'm Stephen Curry, and this is my masterclass.
Devontae Graham, top 10 in the nation in assists, and he's finding Vic on the lob on the alley-oop, and then following it up with one of his specialties on offense, the 3-point shots.
And that's the pace that the Jayhawks want to play at. They want to go up and down quickly. They want Stanford to be uncomfortable. Stanford doesn't mind playing quick, but playing quick with Kansas is very dangerous.
Graham all over the Kansas leaderboard in 3s, assists. Total points, steal for the Jayhawks.
Yeah, press coming out of the timeout. Stanford not ready.
Graham, no look to the corner. Vic for 3.
Look out right now. Stanford needs to settle down. And again, that pace is important. They need to put the ball in the basket, make Kansas take it out of bounds, and get back and get a couple of stops because Kansas is on a run.
Double-digit lead for Kansas, 24-13. Now a foul on the drive.
Well, that's too bad because that's a heck of a move for the freshman right there. Going to his left hand, really strong move. Legero Vic with the foul, but prevented a really nice basket by KZ.
And we got a foul prior to the inbounds pass. This again on Vic, his second. That runs Svi Mikhailuk to the scorer's table.
And walk Legero Vic to the KU bench.
Isaac White to inbound. Okpala, the drive, the floater, missed it. Sharma the rebound. Sharma tied up and a jump ball. That'll take us to us now courtside. Frank Mason III, congratulations on all your success here in Sacramento. But let's talk about your time at KU. You said on senior day that you wish you had 4 more years with the Jayhawks. How do you feel about watching Kansas now as a professional?
Man, it's a great feeling, you know, and not only that, having them come here in Sacramento, it's only a 5-10 minute drive to come to the game. You know, I think it was set up perfect, and today was an off day, so I'm just thankful for that.
I don't know what time you got back last night. NBA travel, you played in Brooklyn. What time did you land in Sacramento?
We landed at 3:30 in the morning.
Day off, though. Nice back-to-back wins for the Kings, finishing the road trip.
For sure, man. It's always fun to get a win. You know, we ended the road trip with 2 straight wins, so it's pretty good.
How are you enjoying the NBA? What's the biggest difference? The way you dominated college and now playing against professionals, playing against men.
I think the biggest difference for me is, honestly, the traveling part. You know, it seems like we're on the road every other day. We're not home for too long, so I would say that's the biggest challenge for me. Just it seems like we're always on the road and the travel.
It is. That's always, I think, the biggest adjustment for rookies. You talk about it, but they don't really appreciate just how much travel there is, and so much of it at night. You know, you charter after a game on the plane into the next city, and people don't know that. People come in and watch an NBA game, they don't realize what the players have done and what kind of travel they've gone through.
Yep.
As a pro, how much of your time are you watching Kansas? I see on Twitter you're tweeting about the team a lot. Obviously enjoying the performance so far here tonight.
Man, you know, I try to keep up with them as much as I can. You know, search Twitter, and, you know, if I can watch the game, you know, I definitely try to do that. But, you know, I'm always supporting my Jayhawks. You know, I love them to death. And like I said, you know, I wish I could have spent 4 more years there. And, you know, I'm just happy to be here to support the guys, see Devontae leading the group, and Coach Self and his amazing staff. So,
hey, Frank, if you're going to stay here, as Fee goes in and dunks, if you're going to stay here and be a commentator on ESPN, you can't be clapping when the Jayhawks make shots. You got to show a little bit of impartiality.
Oh, true. I didn't know I was a commentator.
When you were with Kansas, obviously part of this great streak of Big 12 championships, I want to know, as a Kansas Jayhawk player, do you go into every Big 12 season assuming you're supposed to win it, or are there some nerves that you might be a part of the team that lets that streak go?
You know, as a Jayhawk, you know, you have to work hard and know that you're supposed to win that. You know, every player on the team, you know, don't want to be a part of the team that in that streak. So, and I think they all aware of that. They work really hard during the off season and season, and, you know, they're taking responsibility, you know, to go out there to get a win every night.
You've had a chance to watch him, I'm sure, on TV a little bit. You see Devontae taking a little bit bigger part offensively now than when you two guys played together for a couple of years?
Oh, yeah, for sure. He's running the show. I think he's doing a fantastic job. You know, last year, look at that pass right there. What a pass by Devontae Graham right there.
Now he's got it.
Talk about, you would like to have played 4 years. How would you have liked to have had Udoka play the entire season last year? He goes down with that wrist injury early in the year, and then you guys, of course, got to play the rest of the season without him. He's really coming along.
Oh, man, every time I talk about Kansas basketball, I talk about that last season and how much we missed Udoka. You know, I think about it all the time, honestly. He's so huge, and he's so effective on the offense and defensive end. He blocks shots, rim run. He finishes really well around the rim, so we really missed him. And it seems like every year, you know, at Kansas, I lost a big during the NCAA tournament.
Right there for Humphrey, the big for Stanford, closing the gap a little bit. 13-point advantage for Kansas, make it 16. Blake Newman, we're talking to Frank Mason III, a Kansas legend, 4 years with the Jayhawks. And you mentioned getting a chance to see them come to your hometown. Talk about that transition to the NBA game. What's one thing, though, you particularly miss about Lawrence and your time there on campus?
I miss absolutely everything. The amazing fans, my professors, coaches, teammates, the dormitory they live in. Well, we call it a mansion, you know. It's fantastic.
Coach was bragging on it today.
Oh, yeah,
with Mr.
Sure.
McCarthy. Yeah, for
it's
sure.
It's great, man. So I miss everything, and the amazing fans that comes with Kansas. You know, I miss playing in the field house. 16,300 fans every night, and they bring unbelievable energy no matter who's we playing.
Feels like all those fans showed up here in Sacramento tonight, too.
Oh, yeah, for sure, man. It shows you how well we travel, you know, as a Jayhawk Nation, man. You know, I was just happy to be a part of that.
It's early, but Jayhawks doing a much better job defensively against Reed Travis than you guys were able to do last year in Lawrence. I know you handled him in terms of the final score of the game, but Reed Travis really had an excellent game.
Oh, yeah, he had a really good game. And I just remember when I saw him in warm-ups, I was like, this guy looks familiar. Then forgot we played him there.
29-9. Yeah, he went for 29-9.
He had a great game.
31-15 right now. Kansas with the lead on Stanford. We talked about that streak of Big 12 championships that Kansas has put together. Obviously, there'll be some good threats this year. Oklahoma's got Trae Young. Have you gotten a chance to watch him? And what do you think the field is going to put forth in terms of a challenge to Kansas?
I think it's definitely going to be a challenge. I think Trae is doing a great job over there at OU. And, not only scoring, he's assisting the ball really well. And they have a fantastic coach over there, too. So I'm looking forward to Big 12 play. I think it's going to be a really, really fun season.
Have you scouted out your schedule, seeing if there's any chance to get to Lawrence for a couple of games?
Oh, yeah, I was trying to figure it out today. I think the best time would be All-Star break. I get to watch, West Virginia come in and play my Jayhawks. So, I'm trying to figure it out and see if I can make it there.
That'll be a war for sure. Seeing you sitting over there with Buddy, that's got to be one of the biggest challenges for the Kings. You guys are so young.
Yeah.
Your team, going against the more veteran teams in the league, that's not easy on a night-to-night basis.
Oh, not at all. Especially with a young group of guys. We only have, a few vets out there, but I think the vets do a great job of, helping us out on and off the court, and the coaches do a fantastic job too.
White for three from the top of the key, missed it. Now Azubuike clears the glass. All right, let's put you on the spot here, Frank. The prediction for Kansas this year. How far do the Jayhawks go? We'll assume that everyone stays healthy here this time around.
Man, that's a rhetorical question. I think we're going to win it all this year. Look at that pass.
Oh! It's going to be a goaltend here against Kansas. Still a pretty good 4-minute spell, Frank, since you got in there. They were down 9 when you came. They're up 16 now. A nice 7-point swing. Thanks so much for the time, Frank. We appreciate it.
Thank you, guys, man.
Good luck, Frank. Rest of the way.
Thanks.
Again, both games are also on the ESPN app. Cody Allen, or Josh Allen, my apologies, one of the top 4 quarterbacks for Kipe and McShay on the big board. Who do you like, Coach?
I like Baker. I'll tell you, he's been growing on me all year. They keep talking about the 2 LA Pac-12 guys, but I'll tell you what, Baker Mayfield is a winner. He's a leader. I just love watching him play.
Back to action here in Sacramento. Kansas had a 9-point lead before we bring Frank Mason on the air, and now he's up to his squad, I should say, is up to a 16-point advantage, 33-17 in favor of the 14th-ranked Jayhawks.
Stanford's got to get Reed Travis involved. He's only taken 3 shots. He's 1 for 3. He's got a pair of points, and Kansas obviously has a lot to do with that. But regardless, nice penetration, good dish from Cartwright. Michael Humphrey's been their best player so far.
Humphrey with 12, the other big for Stanford, a senior. There's Sam Cunliffe. Shot blocked by De Silva. Long freshman for Stanford. Humphrey, 12 points, leads all the Cardinals.
Good penetration, poor switch right there. Cartwright gets into the lane, draws the help, and he knows what to do. Not quite as many of those lobs, though, for dunks for the white uniforms.
Kansas having a great deal of success down low, most of it with Udoka Azubuike, who's currently on the bench. Mitch Lightfoot in there in relief. Lightfoot, 4-3. Too strong, rebound to Cartwright.
Mitch Lightfoot is a good player, but that's decidedly different than when Udoka's on the floor.
Bob down low for Travis. Double comes right after him, and a steal by LeGerald Vick.
Again, good defense.
Vick transition 3. Vick joins Azubuike in double figures. He has 10. The lead is 17.
Bill Self puts him back in the game with the 2 fouls, and LeGerald Vick answers.
I've talked about how much Devontae Graham's role has gone up since Mason graduated to the NBA, but really Vick is the one who's seen the most significant jump in minutes and points.
No question.
KZ for 3. An answer for the Stanford freshman, Okpala.
He's like a young colt. You watch him, you can tell, A, how good he is right now, but B, how much better he's going to be in the future, particularly when he fills out.
He's been doing a lot of that over the course of his basketball career. Akpala was 5'10" as a high school freshman, grew to 6'8". That just needs the weight.
That's a David Robinson growth spurt. That's unbelievable.
Svi Mikhailuk now with 4 points. Svi normally is always from 3. Both his shots from inside the arc this time. Cartwright, nice lay in there.
No weak side help. Bill Self not happy. He gets the big man headed to the scorer's table.
38-24 the score. Kansas on top. Svi for 3 and wave it off. An illegal screen called on Lightfoot.
You know, oftentimes, Sam, when that happens, it's because the ball handler doesn't wait for the screener to establish. You know, Lightfoot gets the foul, and maybe he was moving, but again, his teammates got to help him. You got to wait. When your teammate sets a screen for you, you have to wait till they get their feet set before you dribble off the screen.
Azubuike back into the contest. Kansas up by 14. Akpala on the drive. Humphrey, pull-up jumper, in and out, and rebound to Vic.
Been a number of those. They've had some good looks, just haven't been able to finish them. Look out.
On the way down low, Azubuike kick out. Garrett missed everything. Humphrey down low for Travis, and a foul will be called here on Devontae Graham. His first personal.
You can see Stanford working so hard to get Reed Travis the ball. Really isn't open. They're doing a good job fronting him and getting there with the quick double teams on the pass. As important as it is for Stanford to get Reed Travis involved, they've got to take what the defense gives them. His last 4 minutes after this upcoming timeout, it's going to be interesting. Stanford just needs to get it under 10 by the half.
Davis looking for Sharma, and Graham swipes away.
Dejan, that's been a real problem for him. He's an impressive young player, but too many turnovers.
Azubuike, nice move, and the lay-in. 14 for Azubuike.
Points in the paint, points off turnovers. That's been a real problem for the Cardinal.
Now a foul on Azubuike. Travis got by him there defensively. On offense, no one is stopping Azubuike tonight.
Stop me if you've seen this before. This gentleman is having his way inside for the Jayhawks.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by the United States.
Thank you to Oracle for Lonzo Ball and the Lakers scoring off against Kevin Durant and the Warriors. Our coverage tipped with NBA Countdown at 7:30 on ESPN and the ESPN app. Coach, you know something about KD. I think he owes all his success to you, right?
Yeah, I told Rick Barnes when we got him as a rookie, it's interesting. He actually looks like he's paying a little bit of attention. KD was fantastic to coach, but couldn't play at all coming out of Texas. We taught him everything his rookie year, and he hasn't looked back. And again, it's real easy when you got a player that great. The best thing about Kevin Durant is he's a gym rat. Reed Travis misses a free throw. He's just really struggling tonight. But KD literally every summer goes home and works and comes back a better player. It's one of the reasons he's been so successful, and he's such a great teammate.
Mentioned Reed Travis with the miss at the line. Slow start for him. 1 for 3 from the field. Missing his only three-point attempt. Missing his only free throw attempt. Mikhailuk on the other side. Strong on the 3 and the rebound by Stanford. But you'd said before, without Travis, Stanford doesn't have a whole lot of hope here.
No, they don't. They've got to get him involved. Even if it doesn't happen in these final 3 minutes, they got to find a way to get it. They're obviously paying attention. Mikhailuk's fronting him. He's got help from the weak side. Paula unable to finish inside. We'll see what they do on the out-of-bounds play right here. But, you know, Reed Travis not going to force. He's been around. He understands, and the defense is focused on him. The best thing to get him involved is for some of his teammates other than Michael Humphrey to step up and do some damage, and then they can't focus as much attention on Reed.
40-24 our score. Favor of number 14, Kansas. 9-2 on the season. Their only losses to undefeated Arizona State and the Washington Huskies.
And Mike Hopkins did a great job. Their 2-3 zone in the Sprint Center in Kansas City really frustrated the three-point shooters for Kansas.
Davis lob for Travis, had to adjust to the basketball. Outside Sharma for three. And a rebound for Azubuike.
Reed did the right thing. He didn't have a shot. He was double-teamed. Boy, they did not get back on defense, though.
Beautiful look to Mikhailuk, another helper for Devontae Graham. Largest lead of the contest, 18 for Kansas.
Which is really sharp. Third game in six days and a little bit of travel. They started in Lincoln, they got back home for one, and then they come all the way out to Sacramento. They're not showing any ill effects at all from that travel and that many games.
Immediate double team on Travis. Now a hand check outside on Vic. That will be his third.
Up the floor, quickly, bang, hardly touched it. Ligero Vic, touch pass from Devontae Graham in the finish. Look at that, great look, bounce pass. Svi runs the floor, and he gets rewarded for it. Not your traditional big, he's 6'8", but he's really a perimeter player.
Akpala at the line for 1-1. Knocks down the first. Coming up on the Zales halftime report, Arizona survives UConn out in the desert, plus other top 25 action. That's all coming up at the half. Allison Williams and Dallin Cuff. One more for Akpala. Freshman making his Stanford debut. We were talking to the staff, and he picks up the rebound. He was academically ineligible is the best way to put it, but it's academically ineligible for Stanford. Coach Haas said any other team, he's leading them in GPA. It's just what you have to have academically to get into Stanford is so high that it kept him out for the first
couple months. And again, he had a great statement when the year started. He had 6 AP courses last year, and he couldn't get a C in any of them. He got a C, I think it was an advanced calculus course, and as a result of that, he was not able to play first semester. He understood it. He came out with a great statement early in the year as Devontae continues to cook from outside. But again, he was really good. He addressed it, and he did an excellent job first semester. Now he's eligible, and he's happy to be at Stanford, and he understands that's what Stanford's all about.
Under a minute to play in the opening stanza. Kansas 45, Stanford 27. Akpala gives to Cartwright. Cartwright, the runner. Too strong on the bank shot. Rebound by Newman. Bill Self was going to use a timeout here.
Use it or lose it.
Just under 30 seconds left in this first half. They're up by 18. Their guards get a lot of attention, but in the paint's where they've dominated tonight.
Again, beautiful pass. It looks like a one-hand set. It wasn't. That's a high percentage shot. That might be the longest shot that Udoka took tonight. That was about 3.5 feet. They have just been living. It's not the normal color paint they're used to. It's not red and blue. It's purple here in the beautiful, beautiful building. I'll tell you what, Golden One Center is an amazing place, but that purple paint has been a nightmare for Stanford Cardinal in the first half.
Been a lot of fun for Udoka. Azubuike came into tonight second in the nation in field goal percentage, about 0.5% behind Taco Fall of Central Florida. 7 for 8. I think he's back on top for the moment.
Yeah, look out, Taco. He's coming after you, and he's also got a leg up on his 3rd consecutive double-double.
14 points, 5 rebounds for Udoka. On pace actually for a career high right now, which he said last week against Nebraska.
I'll tell you what, that was an excellent game. That was a NCAA caliber game, or at least a March big-time conference game. Great atmosphere in the building.
Some pressure defensively from Stanford. Lob goes to Mikhailuk.
Bill Self, that's why you call the timeout, you execute, but the lob this time, it wasn't to Udoka, it wasn't to Ligero, this time it was to Svi.
Well, used to saying Svi for 3, we haven't said it yet. 4 buckets, all from inside. Travis hits the 13-footer.
It's his 2nd bucket here in the last minute.
Graham at the buzzer, off the iron. at the break. The 14th ranked Jayhawks, a dominant 20 minutes of basketball. They lead it 47-29. Stay tuned for the Zales halftime report coming up after these messages.
Steve with the easy finish inside. They're just doing it. They're lighting them up in the paint. 26-12 is really way too much. 7 for 8 for Udoka. I think we've got him up now to #1 in the country. He may be back on top in field goal percentage. And defensively, that bottom number, Reed Travis, they've done an excellent job. He can't catch the ball without 2 or 3 blue shirts being draped all over him. So it's been very, very difficult for the great big man for Stanford to do what we're accustomed to seeing him do.
Stanford getting the pep talk right now from Coach Hask. Kansas, on the other hand, they're getting ready for Big 12 play. That will start up after tonight's contest. And Coach Self trying to get his team motivated, focused for the Big 12 schedule and making a 14th consecutive conference championship. Right now they're matched with UCLA, but Coach got some help from you, Coach. PJ Carlissimo with some motivation for the Jayhawks.
You can't be thinking and like dial it up, oh, it's the end of the game, this is the NCAAs, I got to play a little different. You got to learn to play that way now so that when you have to do it, you've been doing it all year, and this is when you do that stuff. You don't just do that come Big 12 championship or come NCAA. You have to do it now every day, and then that stuff happens at the end, not by accident. Bill's being kind. Again, you want to hear different voices. So I think you see another coach there, you give him an opportunity. But the truth was, the time zone, and they're so tired, he figured if I talked to them, they would put him to sleep and they'd be able to take a nap before the game. So Bill had an ulterior motive for having me talk to the team.
I don't think it was quite that. Shout out to Roger Wilson for the great camera work as well on that pregame speech.
I don't want to give Roger too much credit, please.
He got your good side.
Yeah, he did.
Kansas with an 18-point advantage as we begin the second half. Drive out to Boogie, finish, and the foul.
Clever little pass. Well, I'll tell you what, Devontae Graham, just a nice, simple, and there's the message right there. Michael Humphrey couldn't get his feet set in front of him, but, you know, you young guys and ladies watching out there, it doesn't have to be fancy. Just make the simple pass, and when a guy's on his move to the basket, the way Azubuike was that time, a nice little bounce pass takes him right into the paint.
Misses the free throw, which does not count against the percentages.
Oh, exactly.
I'm 43 from the line.
I'm loving Devontae's line. At the half, he had 10 points, 5 assists, but what I like, 2 steals and no turnovers. There he picks up another assist right out of the chute in the second half.
Humphrey bumped by Azubuike. He will get the personal, his second. Azubuike leading all scorers with 16, and so much is made of the one-and-dones, Coach. Guys like Ayton and McCoy at UNLV, a lot of focus on them. You look at a 7-footer like Azubuike, so young, still a raw talent, and what he can do on this big stage. What do you think his future's like?
Oh, his future's limitless, there's no question. And he missed last year. I mean, he loses the year. What, he played 6 or 7 games before he injured the wrist, injured it at practice, and guy just made the jump shot. Reed Travis has benefited from his redshirt year also. He's a redshirt junior, and he's gotten better and better each year. He's making his free throws this year. There's a lot to be said for staying. It's hard to tell a guy when he's got a chance to have a big payday. Poor Dejon Davis. I mean, I live in Seattle. He is an excellent guard. He's going to be a big-time player in the Pac-12, but he's not a point guard. I mean, he's being forced into handling and being a point guard, but this guy, Udoka, that's a great pose. He should be standing like that with the Superman pose. He moved over here in 9th grade. He's been getting better and better. He was 17 years old when he came to Kansas. He's only going to continue to get better. Look out.
Another jam for Azubuike. That would have been an appropriate moment for the flex pose.
Well, I'll tell you what, there was another big who came to Kansas, young, from the same company, Joel Embiid, and we saw the improvement in him. People had no idea Most people had no idea when he left Kansas just how special he was. It's incredible. Now, Udoka's got a long way to go to get the rest of that game that Joel Embiid has. But I'll tell you what, he's getting better week by week. He's improved dramatically in the past 2 or 3 weeks. Since this season started, he's a much more accomplished player.
Just picked up his 3rd personal. A miss for Travis.
They brought him away from the basket a little bit, though. Reed's already had 2 jump shots from outside early here in the second half.
Newman misses from NBA range. It almost feels like, talking to Coach Self and seeing Frank here, that players have it held against them sometimes if they're in school for 3 or 4 years. And in actuality, you look at a guy who's physically much more developed, like Mason, ready to play in the NBA versus an 18-year-old who just physically is not going to contend with some of the grown men they've got to play
Well,
against.
it's something that the NBA commissioner, Adam Silver, talks about all the time, and it's the biggest challenge for NBA coaches. You have these young guys coming into the league. Are they talented enough to play in the NBA? Of course they are. But I don't think very often they're ready to handle the money, the travel, the pressure, playing against the man, all the things that go with that. And that's really the challenge. It's too bad. In hindsight, I think 2 years would have been good. It's going to be interesting to watch what happens going forward.
Isaac White rips the net cords with his first 3, Australian. And the defense on the other end, a rebound for Oscar Da Silva.
Yeah, I'll tell you, Isaac, it's interesting. He's looking forward to a trip. His Svi with the good steal right there.
And blocked by Humphrey. Still with Kansas, Newman underneath. And the rebound to Humphrey. I'm about to talk about Isaac.
Well, I'll tell you, he's really pumped up. He wants to get back to Adelaide. They've got a couple days. They bring him back for practice. Both of these teams are taking time off after tonight. They'll start practice again the 26th as Kansas gets ready for a trip to Texas, and Stanford gets ready to host Cal as they both start their respective conference seasons.
Kansas might have some help coming into conference play. These two, some big men assistants. Azubuike obviously very good, but Billy Preston in practice was extremely impressive in the ESPN 100 at number 18. He's been held out while the school investigates an accident he was in just before the start of the non-conference schedule.
No question how either or both of those would have a significant impact, and where it would really make a difference, it would give them some front court depth. They've got no depth whatsoever right now, and it's not a problem for them tonight, but it's going to be when they get into the Big 12 schedules.
Lots of people wearing Kansas jerseys, and Graham found one of them in the stands.
That's what I get for bragging on him. I bragged on him for no turnovers, and there we go. We'll see what he was looking at. He's talking to the young guys. He's telling, it's good when you're a senior, particularly when you're as good as he is. He can tell the young guy, Marcus Garrett, Marcus, you're supposed to be in the corner. I drive baseline. We need somebody there. Baseline drive, baseline drift.
51-34. Stanford gets a little closer as Reed Travis hits the triple. He's into double figures with 11.
The Cardinal not going away, and Reed Travis going away from the basket and finding a lot more success in the second half.
At shoot-around today, he was taking his shots with the guards. Obviously, he's a low-post type of player, but really has stretched his game. Mikhailuk, lefty finish.
He loves that lefty drive. He loves to go in there with the lefty drive. Now, you talk about, that's really where Reed Travis has improved dramatically. He spent a lot of time with the top assistant coach, Jeff Wolbron. He's improved his free throw. His free throw percentage is now up over 70. It's never been that high. And he's shooting threes. You know, we said he took 1 3 all of last year. He's already attempted 25 this season.
All right, steps out of bounds. And a turnover to Kansas. Cardinal getting a little bit closer. Reed Travis hits his first 3 of the night. But Svi, Mikhailuk, all his points on the interior, including this lefty finish from the Jayhawks. Lead by 16.
College football
Rematch in the All-State Sugar Bowl from the Superdome in New Orleans. Both games are also streaming live on the ESPN app. All right, Coach, who do you like in the final?
Uga and Dabo. Okay. I got to go with Georgia. My son Kyle, it's his favorite team, and I think Dabo's going to find a way in the rematch to get it done.
Here tonight, Big 12 versus Pac-12, heavily in favor of the 14th ranked Jayhawks. They're up 53-37, but a turnover here to Stanford. Sam Farber, the coach, PJ Carlissimo with you in Sacramento. Travis kicked off the triple team, and Cartwright, Travis.
Bad turnover. He had a turnover going into the timeout, and he's got a turnover coming out of it right now. You see, though, Reed Travis gets the ball, Sam, and immediately he's surrounded by the 3 blue jerseys. We'll go back to football for a second. Stanford, if I'm not mistaken, we have another Pac-12, Big 12, Alamo Bowl on ESPN the 28th against TCU.
TCU basketball pretty good, too, right now.
I'm not picking. Oh, Jamie's got him cooking for sure.
Kansas will have some competition this year for the Big 12 title. Lightfoot called for the charge.
I'll tell you what, Michael Humphrey has had a very solid basketball game on both ends of the floor. Not just shooting, he's put it on the floor, he's stepped in front of people, he's helped him a little bit on the glass. Really good job right there. Outside the restricted area, took the charge right in the chest.
Another turnover. Given right back to Stanford. Travis comes away with it. KZ Akpala backdoor, and Isaac White denied. Svi for 3. Been waiting all night. Still waiting.
The Ukraine rejects Australia on the baseline.
Isaac, you mentioned earlier, Coach, going to be heading to Australia.
Oh, he's pumped. He can't wait to get back to Adelaide. Oscar da Silva's going back to Germany. 4 days off. The Stanford guys are heading home before they come back for practice on the 26th.
Both of them said at shoot-around today that they're going to spend at least 24 hours in the air to be on the ground, less than 48 hours. But Oscar says to have mom's cooking and to see grandma, he'll do it.
Good for them. That's great. That's one, again, one of the tough things. The loneliest place to be is on a campus during semester break or Christmas break. We got the men's and the women's teams, maybe some of the other winter sport teams. That's it. Other than that, they're just rattling around empty dorms.
Foul underneath on Mitch Lightfoot. That's his 3rd.
But a foul on the Jayhawks, number 34, Mitch Lightfoot.
Still, I think Mitch's biggest challenge, a turnover. Remember, setting the pick in the first half. Just the little mistakes. That's something that comes with experience, and he's acquiring that experience. But sometimes it's not the good things you do. It's not doing bad things, not making mistakes. And Mitch is still making a few too many mistakes.
Good deflection there by Vic. It'll stay with Stanford. He trails 14th ranked Jayhawks by 16. Lightfoot was the Arizona Player of the Year coming out of high school.
Born in Kansas and moved to Arizona. And then ends up back.
Feels like the state of Kansas has come here to Sacramento.
You know the expression, travel well. Very few schools travel as well as Kansas.
Humphrey, baseline jumper, too strong, and a rebound to Mikhailu.
There I go, bragging on somebody again, and then boom.
Graham, pull up. And a rebound to Lightfoot. Mikhailu tries again from distance, around and out. Lightfoot again, the offensive board. Mikhailu. And on the 3rd attempt, we've got a foul on the rebound. And once again on Lightfoot, his 4th.
It's another one of those little mistakes. It's a good mistake. It's an effort play. He's trying to do something. But again, you're going to put your team in the bonus. You can't afford. You got to play cleanly. You got to go out there and play. You don't always have to do good things, but you got to minimize the mistakes.
We talked about before Billy Preston, the potential big man help coming for Kansas. There's Lightfoot with a block. One of his best attributes, the rejection on KZ.
He's nice putting the ball on the floor. He was unable to finish inside, but that's really good defense by Mitch Lightfoot. Stays in the play.
Deshaun Davis.
One thing he's always done well, top 5 in the conference in block shots.
Yep.
Da Silva fading away.
Good defense.
Rebound to Graham.
But Gerald Vick really contested the shot well.
12:15 left here in regulation. 16-point lead for Kansas, although both teams have gone into a 3+ minute scoring drought. Vick trying to snap it. He does, plus the foul.
Freshman mistake. Well, we talked on the other end what a good job Gerald Vick did contesting the shot. Dejon Davis is trying to contest, but he's got that bottom hand in there. You can't do that. It's a sloppy play, and John Higgins, the official, right on top of it. This is a good crew, by the way. This is an NCAA caliber crew, and it's a blended crew. These officials work both conferences, the Pac-12 and the Big 12.
Tony Padilla, John Higgins, and Mike Greenstein.
Very, very good group.
Vick hits the extra. He's got 13, second only to Azubuike on the Kansas roster. Pollock nearly picked down low, and a foul called as Sharma was about to go up. Stanford down by 19. They're going to need some hustle plays, something their head coach, Jared Haas, knows a lot about. He literally wrote the book, Floor Burns. We're going to talk about that unique stat kept by both these sides when we return to Saturday.
Last year when he took his Cardinal into Allen Fieldhouse, they remember really well, and you see it right now. The tradition is still alive at Kansas, and he's brought it to the farm. Dejon Davis, the young guy who maybe turns it over a little bit, but 26 floor burns. He's doing a lot of good things also.
And that floor burn stat, it really inspires the popularity. People, sometimes like to name their children after someone who has certain attributes. We've got a lot of stories about people in Kansas of a certain age now named Jared because of Coach Haas.
Well, his lead assistant, Jeff Wilburn, named his son after Jared. But I'll tell you, I was talking to Roy Williams today, who was really gracious after that tough game with Wofford last night. And Roy, of course, was bragging on Jared. He talked about how hard he worked, left nothing to chance. He talked to him in the summer and all the things he was doing. He was saying, Coach, I never want to think that there was something I could have done that would have helped us. And he said, you know what? He never did. Nobody competed like him, and he loved his competitiveness, and he loved the fact that he cared. And we talk about coaches that sometimes think, hey, as a young player, you're not supposed to live and die it. You don't feel the same way. Roy said he always felt, Jared felt exactly the same way he did. The rare times that they lost, he took it just as hard as Roy did.
He's got big plans for this Stanford program as well, hoping to get them back to the era where they had the Collins twins or the Lopez twins, and maybe back on pace for competing, not just for Pac-12 titles, but in the national picture as well.
That's what they do, and they're competing right here. You see there's a couple floor burns just picked up on that play right now. I don't think there's any question Jared's going to get it done. He did it at UAB, and I think that formula, you're going to see it. He went from 16 wins to 18 to 20, then to 26 his last year, 4 years at UAB. Conference USA Championship, took him to the NCAA. So, I mean, first of all, as good a player as he was, played for Lou Campanelli for a year at Cal in the Pac-12. That's why this is a homecoming for him. He's from South Lake Tahoe High School, then a great playing career at Kansas, graduate assistant at Dobo, director of basketball ops for Roy at Kansas, and then went with him to University of North Carolina, and then the great job at UAB. Jared Haas is going to get it done. There's no question about that. Already, you see the recruiting already. Freshman class and what he's bringing in next year. I like Akpala. First game. I mean, yeah, he practiced with the team all year. It's his first competition against Kansas. That's a tough start. I like him a lot.
Especially since his first defensive assignment was Azubuike.
Oh, unbelievable.
Foul on the drive by Devontae Graham.
Speaking of the big man, he's back in.
Foul was on Oscar De Silva, his first. He's also a freshman.
And he's also got a couple floor burns the last 2 or 3 plays. 3 freshmen had to play a ton. Dejon Davis, Isaac, and Oscar De Silva. No choice for Jared Haas but to play those guys while the other people got healthy.
Graham misses from the elbow. Rebound to De Silva. Lead is 17. Travis, turnaround baseline jumper. Rebound to Mikhailuk.
Bill Self in front of us. He wants him to get it up the floor a little bit quicker. We talked about that pace. As Mikhailuk, listening right now, puts it on the floor and a strong finish inside. You know, Sam, just to finish that thought, Dorian Pickens, one of the tri-captains, a starter last year, their best perimeter shooter, only guy who played all 31 games, started all 31 games for the Cardinal last year. He gets hurt in the second game. He hasn't played since. Hopefully he's going to be back for the Cal game. And Marcus Sheffield is yet to play. He was also penciled in as a starter. So Stanford badly undermanned. They get Akpala back tonight, but you know, they've been really playing shorthanded so far.
Graham down low to Azubuike, and a foul called on Reed Travis. That's his second personal. Here's those Stanford players missing. Pickens due to injury, all but 2 games. Sheffield the entire season. And Akpala, who just became eligible tonight. And again, any other school in the country, he not only would have been out there on the floor, but he would have been leading the team in GPA.
Now, they're all impact players. They're either starters or rotation players, as Michael Humphrey just continues to build upon the excellent performance tonight. As Dorian Pickens, you see Dorian sitting on the bench, and that's got to be chewing him up.
Graham, nice fake, and he'll lay it in. His first points of the second half. He's up to a dozen.
You kind of get the feeling watching Devontae Graham, he can score whenever they need him to score. He distributes, he runs the team. When they need a bucket, he can do that also.
Humphreys laying the only bucket for Stanford in the last 6.5 minutes of game action. That shot well contested by Azubuike.
Yeah, sometimes it's not the block, it's just altering the shot with the length and the strength. Look out inside.
Almost reverse jams it, gets the board, put back, no, foul is called.
And the great Moses Malone rebound right there.
Stanford foul number 10.
Sam, his field goal percentage is going to plummet.
I mean, that went 9 for 11 now. He was at 90%.
Terrible. Get him out,
drop.
Bill.
Mikhailuk pull up. And the rebound to KZ. Akpala. Travis on the drive. Nice pass underneath for Humphrey.
Nice play by the big man. He got by LeGerald Vick, drew the help, and then unselfishly dished it off inside.
It is the one kind of hole that Kansas has talked about. Some of that interior defense, big to big. As much of a force as Azubuike has been underneath, sometimes defensively, those speed guys can get by him.
Well, there's no question, but we talked about the depth. Billy Preston yet to play, and if it turns out Silvio De Souza is able to reclassify, now you're talking some depth in the front court for the Jayhawks.
Offensive board, put back, no. Travis, pump fake, and the lefty slam.
Hanging around.
60-45. Kansas still on top, but a nice moment there for Travis. Now Newman lays it in. His second bucket of the night. Lead back to 17. Humphrey, kick out. Cartwright, corner 3. And loose ball out of bounds. It'll be with Kansas. 14th ranked Jayhawks lead it by 17 here in Sacramento.
Introducing the all-new delivery pouch from Pizza Hut. Thanks to 3 layers of thermal insulation, your pizza arrives oven hot.
Preston, and watching shoot around today, you could make a rule for him that he's not allowed to touch the ball on offense. He would still have a massive impact and improve Kansas greatly.
Well, he's sitting down there. You can't see the difference. 6'10", 240. He will be a big impact player for the Jayhawks, and he has been practicing with them. Coach Self, they were getting on him pretty good during the practice today, making sure he had the rotations right. No question will impact this team right away. And again, they like playing with the 4 guards around the big. He may even be the big at times, but you better believe he and Udoka are going to be on the floor together some, and that's going to be, all of a sudden, that front line gets a lot bigger, a lot stronger.
Number 18 in the ESPN 100. About the only thing that would keep Azubuike from really contending for the nation's leading field goal percentage guy is if Preston guarded him all the time. He's about the only one who could block him.
Benefits, I'm sure, from playing against him in practice. Again, that's the thing. The better your program, the more depth you have, you're going to improve. What a excellent freshman. Trey Young, it's scary. We looked at Buddy Hield and Frank Mason before. You got another Big 12 player who will contend. Marvin Bagley's been unbelievable, a player who we classified. DeAndre Ayton has been phenomenal for Arizona. And I watched Colin Sexton last night for Avery Johnson. Colin Sexton doing it all for Bama. None of these guys playing the way freshmen. You know, somebody better tell them, hey guys, you're only 17 or 18 years old. You're not supposed to come in and dominate college basketball. Trey leads in scoring and assists as a freshman for Lon Kruger.
And it's really fun to see those guys not just put up those kinds of numbers, but do it on winning teams. I think the last couple of years we've seen some of these big-time prospects go places and not see the team succeed in college. I think it speaks really well for what they can do when they go to the NBA, whether it's one and done or not. The fact that they have taken these programs and had them win around them, not just put up stats.
Well, there's no question. And again, that's the big difference in, you know, college basketball going back to 100 years ago when I was coaching. You don't have a lot of 3- and 4-year players, so you don't have the experience. So the young guys can come in and can dominate, you know, more quickly than you could in the past. I mean, you know, we didn't used to. If a freshman gave us anything, you'd be thrilled. If he was good enough to really contribute, to be a starter or play, that was bonus. Now they want these guys to come in and lead the team. John Higgins with the call right now. That's on the out-of-bounds play.
Kansas in the Bumbles.
Hall of Famer Bill Self.
Well, the scoring has changed. Now, we had a 47-29 first half and 16-15 so far. Now up to 18-15 with 14 minutes in. The defense has taken hold in the second half.
Stanford's looking at Pac-12 play. Obviously, they're getting some guys back. This is a Cardinal team that was picked 5th in the Pac-12. Picked ahead of some schools that are currently ranked well beyond them. It is not out of the question if Stanford gets hot in Pac-12 play. They could be a tournament team.
There's no question. They're going to be a much improved team. And again, we keep repeating ourselves, but no Dorian Pickens, no Marcus Sheffield. This is the first game for KZ Akpala. You're talking 3 rotation players, going to make a big difference. Their first 3 games are at home. They're not easy games, but they do open up, you know, at home, which is going to be a big plus for them. But again, when you got Cal and then UCLA and USC coming in, they've been playing in the state of California for a while. With some more practices with these players, it'll be good. Reed unable to convert that, but again, the difference in him, the ability to go out and stretch the floor and shoot threes, that's going to be a huge plus in the Pac-12.
Tyler missile jam from Azubuike. The field goal percentage just went back up.
Well, he missed 2 in a row. He figured, hey, I better make sure right now. There's Svi with that left hand that he loves.
The free throw line for the Jayhawks.
Udoka with those 2 hands that he loves more. Stuffing it. He's got to get better on the free throw line, though. I mean, he's going to be, you know, the scouting report's going to be, hey, when he gets an offensive rebound, not one of those where he almost tears the rim down, but when he gets an offensive rebound, you got to put him on the free throw line, because that right now is really a weakness of his.
Ball out of bounds. He'll stay with Stanford. Let's check out Azubuike again.
Wham. Reed Travis is a big, strong player. Udoka didn't even feel him on his arm right there. But again, 10 for 23 coming in, 44% from the free throw line. That's something clearly you're going to see him on the free throw line a lot. When he gets an offensive rebound, people are just going to start following him.
Humphrey, the bank shot. He has 18. Stanford's gotten it to this 15-point mark a few times, but hasn't gotten much closer. Now a foul called on KZ Akpala with 4:53 remaining in regulation, and bonus free throws coming up for Devontae Graham.
And we talked about how much Devontae has improved from the free throw line.
Shooting 1 and 1.
Graham, an 88% free throw shooter. Missed the front end.
That's how the lead's going to keep hanging around 15. See if the Cardinal can cut into it a little bit more.
All right, using the Humphrey screen.
Deflection by Devontae kept him from getting an open look at a three.
All right, fadeaway over Azubuike, not the best shot.
No, exactly right.
Newman. Work it to Graham. Graham had the defender on spin cycle there and forces the foul from Robert Cartwright. Friday on ESPN, more bowl games for you, 12:30 p.m. Eastern. A couple of 8 and 4 teams will go head-to-head. UAB battling Ohio in the Bahamas Bowl. Why didn't we get that assignment today? Then Josh Allen leads Wyoming as they take on Central Michigan. Both games are also on the ESPN app. It's a good holiday assignment, Bahamas Bowl.
Yeah, exactly. You tell me no charity. 4 years at UAB. I'm sure you can hook us up with some tickets.
Diamond Head Classic is going to get started tomorrow. You've got a nice holiday assignment. You're going back east for some Christmas hoops.
I'm looking forward to ESPN Radio. We've got Washington at the amazing Boston Celtics. I mean, Brad Stevens, how they're doing. I got to give Danny Ainge a ton of credit. It hurts me to say that, but I got to tell Danny when I see him. Only 4 players back from last year. They get their best player hurt right in the beginning, and they have not missed a beat, despite a couple of back-to-back losses for Boston the last 2 nights.
Knicks taking out the Celtics. Michael Beasley, 32 and 12.
Well, Kyrie had the last shot last night to win the game, and they didn't. They came from behind against Miami and lost at TD Garden. So a rare back-to-back losses for the Celtics.
Michael Humphrey's got 20. Usually takes second billing to Reed Travis, but he's been the top dog tonight on the interior, or really all around for Stanford.
He's had an excellent game. Nice D, KZ.
Still recovered by Kansas. 9 on the shot clock. Newman, finger roll for 2.
Mississippi State transfer. He's looking a little bit more comfortable. I still think he's got another gear, and they need him to get to that gear if they're going to have the kind of year that Kansas is used to having.
He was a top 10 recruit when he went to Mississippi State.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. He's a good player right now, but he can be an even better player, and I think Bill Self needs him to do that for the Jayhawks.
It's backdoor pass. Svi with the lay-in. Mikhailu now with 14.
The execution, the assists pile up. That's why they're number 2 in the country in assists. Their spacing, they move without the ball, and they're very unselfish. And again, basically playing with 4 guards and 1 big.
Lead stretched to 19. 2.5 minutes left. White missed everything on the 3. Stanford recovers. 5 on the shot clock. Cartwright stripped. And it's a 2-on-1 for Kansas. Garrett missed the lane, but he'll be at the line to shoot 2 when we come back from the break. Kansas continuing to share the basketball, Coach.
Well, again, they come up on the elbow. You flash a player up to the elbow. It's the classic backdoor look. Bang. The big guy lays it right off. He does a good job moving without the ball. Devontae and Udoka set it up. Easy finish inside.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Zale. 'Tis the season to save and sparkle more than ever.
The Rockets, and then it's off to Oracle for Lonzo Ball, and the Lakers squaring off against and the Warriors. Our coverage tips with NBA Countdown at 7:30 on ESPN and the ESPN app. Sam Farber, the coach, PJ Carlissimo here with you in Sacramento, the beautiful Golden One Center, home of the Kings, and host tonight to most of the state of Kansas, which has made the trip out to support the Jayhawks. They were listed as the road team for this one. It didn't sound like it when they did team introductions.
No, absolutely not. Marcus Garrett, interesting story out of Skyline High School in Dallas. Played for Paul Graham, former head coach at Washington State University, but also an assistant with Bill Self under Eddie Sutton at Oklahoma State. So it all comes around, and Marcus, impressive freshman, well-schooled in defense, you better believe, playing for Paul Graham at Skyline High School.
Saw Frank Mason III there, who makes his home now here in Sacramento, an all-time Kansas great. And in case you missed it before, Coach Carlissimo addressing the Kansas team. And I thought there was an interesting question Bill Self had for you. He asked, if Frank Mason didn't have his motor, is he an NBA player?
Absolutely not. But he's got a motor unlike just about anybody, and you can't tell him he's too small or he's this, you can't do that, you can't be successful. He's going to be successful. He's done a good job. He's earned a lot more playing time now for the Sacramento Kings. He's up to almost 19 minutes a game, and again, they're such a young team. He and De'Aaron Fox, I mean, they're playing some real youngsters, and Dave Yeager doing an excellent job with this team, but Frank Mason epitomizes the motor. And I think, you know, Bill, a lot of people were talking about his soft quote a couple weeks back about saying this was one of the softest teams he's had. That man is not soft.
No, he's not.
I guarantee you that. But, you know, Bill's trying to send a message, and what he's trying to do is get all of the players, but particularly the young guys, to play with the heart, to play with the motor that Frank Mason has, and that's asking a lot.
Miss for Travis, rebound to Graham. We're under 90 seconds left. Azubuike currently right on the edge of being #1 in the nation for field goal percentage. He's 11 for 14. We'll give it to him here.
I was waiting to see whether he'd get that double-double. Good read right there by KZ. Lazy pass.
KZ
Okpala, the freshman, his debut for Stanford. He has 6.
1 minute remaining.
And we're under a minute left.
Sam Cunliffe, another neighbor of mine from Seattle out of Rainier Beach High School, but that pass is not going to get it done.
Azubuike, another slam. 24, he's one shy of his career high.
Whose idea was it when we talked about the Open? We debated whether to feature Devontae Graham or Udoka Azubuike. I don't know whether you or Andy Jacobson, our producer, gets the credit.
I would love to take credit, but I think that's Andy.
He was on the money with the big guy.
Kansas will walk it up. There's a 5-second game clock, shot clock differential. Kansas not all that concerned. Jayhawk Nation saluting here in Sacramento, a 21-point Kansas lead.
They may take the shot clock violation right now to not rub it in.
They'll be at Texas after the Christmas break. And Stanford opens with the rivalry game versus Cal.
At home, though.
Violation with 4.8.
If I'm not mistaken, that's only turnover number 10 for the Jayhawks. A team that normally scores 88 a game. They actually, you said to Jared Hass before the game, he'll take 75 for Kansas. I think he'd have taken it, but Kansas defense limits the Cardinal to only 54 on the other end.
Their final score, Kansas 75, Stanford 54. Coach Hass, the Kansas alum, shaking hands with Bill Self after the 10th win of the season for Kansas. Our final score tonight, 75-54 in favor of the Jayhawks. Big 12 play awaits for them. Pac-12 ahead for Stanford. For PJ Carlissimo and our entire production crew, I'm Sam Farber saying it has been a pleasure and a privilege talking to you tonight. We wish you a happy holiday season, a prosperous new year. Coach, have fun in Boston for Christmas.
I'm going to enjoy it. Bill Self's got to be happy. Jayhawks look good getting ready for the Big 12.
Kansas wins by 21.